You're watching the Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown, and here are your hosts, Karis and Shadowwriter. Yeah!
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. So today's Super Sunday Showdown is going to be a Division 6 matchup between Protect Your Nexus and Dark Brawler. Shadow, tell us a little bit about these teams and what they're here for.
Right, so far you've got the one fact right. They are Division 6 teams. Protect Your Nexus, and Dark Roller. Now, I've got it on good authority, and on good authority, I mean, I talked to Protect Your Nexus captain earlier, Skylaw, and after he had a discussion with his team, they have reached a conclusion that they're one of the older teams in Heroes Lounge. Now, whether that's backed up by scientific facts, I cannot confirm or deny that claim, but it has been made. Unfortunately, I have no spicy gossip to share about Dark Roller, as there's been full radio silence from them. But so far, Protect Your Nexus have won both of their matches in Division 6, so they are on a bit of a spree. Now, Dark Brawler are also coming in with a bit of a momentum, having won against GG Lucio in a 2-1 fashion. But unfortunately, for them, they have lost their other match in Division 6.
So they're slightly behind Protect Your Nexus statistically so far. I mean, Protect Your Nexus, as you are saying, a very old Lounge team, Lounge veterans. Skylaw, the captain in particular, been around since around 8 BC. And in fact, they've been in Division 6 for many seasons. Basically, since there was a Division 6, Protect
They
Your
have
Nexus
been
have
in
been in it.
Division
Yeah,
6.
yeah. So and before that, they were in Divisions 4 and 5, generally, flipping between those, because in those days there were only 5 divisions. And when the divisions got stretched out like space-time itself, Protect Your Nexus got moved into Division 6, and there they've stayed. So they're obviously very comfortable here in Division 6. They know the kind of plays that they will expect. And yeah, 2 wins so far in rounds 1 and 2. So
Very
a good
comfortable
showing
wins
from
as well,
Protect Your Nexus.
2-0.
2-0 victories, okay, so
Yeah.
really showing themselves to be dominant. I mean, could this be the season that they get promoted, that they go to Division 5 for next season? Or would that be breaking with tradition too much, do you think?
Well, I'm personally rooting for them in the journey onwards to the Division 5 hopefully, and then Division 4. The sky's the limit. Skylar mentioned that he feels like also in terms of the age of their players, they're also one of the older ones, so I guess they're the fathers of the how should I say it? I don't quite have the English word, but what's your general impression of the age bracket of our players?
I don't know. I think, let's say, I get the impression that Heroes Lounge, and I don't know this, so don't quote me on this. I get the impression that it's got a slightly older average age than most games amateur tournaments. And I don't know whether that's the combination of Heroes of the Storm having a slightly higher average age than other video games, or
We don't
just
have too
Heroes
many
Lounge.
12-year-olds.
Heroes Lounge has been around a long time. Shadow is always keeping an eye out for the 12-year-olds. So the no,
oh, you know me.
Yeah. So I don't know, but there's a full range of ages in Heroes Lounge, and we do welcome everyone. So yeah, absolutely, it's something where you can find a variety of demographics. Let's say.
Nice.
Dark Brawler, we don't know too much about them. I mean, are they new to Heroes Lounge this season?
That's a very good question. To me, looking at their standings and results, yes, it looks they are a new team.
Yeah, so I think they haven't played as this team, in previous seasons. I don't
No,
know
it
about the
might be a
individual players.
rebranding of a team.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know about the individual players per se.
They have a very edgy spelling of their name, Dark with a 4, so could be potentially the young rebels versus the old and wise. Is that a bit too much to judge from a spelling of a word?
Who
Dark?
knows? Who knows? We could, these players could If there's one thing I know from Heroes of the Storm is that players can surprise you. So absolutely, yeah. So they're a new team. Generally, players who haven't played in Heroes Lounge much before. I do know that their captain has not played in Heroes Lounge before this season. So
Technically, they are the underdogs, I guess.
I mean, I think I'm right in saying, Shadow Writer, that your first season in Heroes Lounge was last season.
It was very much so. So yeah,
Talk
I'm
to us
not
about
one
that.
to. Oh, that was something. I mean, you opened my eyes to a whole new world of Heroes of the Storm. Obviously Blizzard ended HGC a while ago. Has it been 2 years now? I think it has been.
Yeah, I think it might have been, you know. Oh no,
And
well, a year and a half or something. Yeah, a year and a half.
yeah, about a year and a half ago. And at some point between that point and last season, I met you, and you introduced me to Heroes Lounge after we played a few games of ranked. And I gotta say, I was vaguely aware in the periphery of my consciousness about like amateur leagues existing out there. Stuff like the American University one. Oh, what was
Here's
it
the
called?
Dome. Here's the Dome.
Heroes of the Dome. Yeah, that's the one. But I never, I never picture myself. Hey, that's something I could do. That's something I could actually participate in. I'm not good enough, or you know, I wouldn't make it. And you just threw out that you had a team. You got me in, and I've been having fun ever since. It's been an interesting journey. Obviously, now I'm casting as well. It's just
And is it
you've changed
intimidating?
my life, Karis.
So I think here's the core question: is it intimidating when you're a new player in Heroes Lounge? Is it intimidating?
It's funny you say that. In a way, yeah, it is, because some of the unwritten rules about how things happen in Heroes Lounge, I mean, they're unwritten, so they're not really clear. I'm gonna come back to my to my point from our last meeting about getting some some clearer rules and practices set out in updated versions of the documents.
You're talking
On a
about for
playing
casters
level,
there.
though, yeah,
Right.
both for casters and players. As players, I think it's very important that your team captain knows what he or she is doing, because it seems like the captain has a few key responsibilities. But if you're just in the team, as long as you're there on time and you've practiced, you can sit back and relax and obviously play.
Yeah, well, I think you've touched on something that is something that a lot of new teams struggle with there, which is scheduling and holding the team together and getting people to show up at fixed times for practice and matches. Because practice is everything, right? Practice is everything in Heroes Lounge. At least that's my experience. If you want to be successful as a team, you really need to practice as a team, and that needs structured practice, and that means set times. And just getting 10 people in the same place at the same time, that's actually
Exactly,
really
it's
challenging, and that is something that teams struggle with. But what Dark Brawler don't seem to be struggling with that so far. Okay, it's only been 2 matches, but they have played those matches, and as we've seen, they've won one of those already. So, already showing some potential as a team.
Yeah, they must be doing something right to have won one of those matches, like you said. And what was I going to say? Yeah, so obviously the MOBA genre, it's a team-based genre, and within that team-based genre, there are certain games, I'm not gonna name names, where you can more or less carry your team. But if you put a list of MOBA titles where team play is important, Heroes of the Storm would probably be, if not at the top, very close to that top, because of the way the game mechanics work. So yeah, team practice, like you mentioned, and being coordinated, being able to talk to each other, it's very important. And for new teams, certainly it can be let's say an obstacle, so to say, against other more comfortable teams that have played for a longer time in Heroes Lounge. It's a different feeling than ranked.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's one of the reasons I always recommend Heroes Lounge to players. Is because Heroes of the Storm really feels like a game that's designed for coordinated team play, and honestly, an amateur league like Heroes Lounge, and there are others out there, particularly in the US, you got NGS and stuff, but there are like an amateur league is the best way to experience that coordinated play with players you've practiced with and really playing strategically and together. It really brings the highest dimension to the game. Now, back briefly to our match that's coming up tonight, which is Protect Your Nexus versus Dark Brawler Division 6. We've had some map bans in from the two teams. So do you want to talk us through those, Shadow Writer?
Right. So, our current map pool doesn't include anything too crazy. You're not going to be seeing games like Blackouts Bay or what's that one really crazy? Workhead Junction, unfortunately. But like Karis mentioned, we've already had a few map bans. Now, let me just get that right. We've got Protect Your Nexus picking up first pick by the Bliss of Iron Jesus. And our first ban has been from Dark Rower. And it's Towers of Doom, which is a very unique map with a very unique mechanic of its own. The counter ban to that being Braxis Holdout. So two very different bans, perhaps telling us a bit what those teams are comfortable with and what they want to avoid.
Yeah, I think that's so. What do you think about those bans? I mean, so Sky Temple, very macro focused ban right there. So
yeah, another. It looks to me like Dark Rower are banning the bigger 3-lane maps where coordination and team communication would be the most important, which makes sense given that they're a newer team for them to ban those kind of maps because arguably their opponents could have a small, or rather not so small, what's the word I'm looking for? Advantage over them. Now, on the opposite, for the opposite team, for Protect Your Nexus to ban Braxis Holdout, that also makes sense for me because it's one of those snowballing maps where, no matter how experienced you are, it's very easy to seam it out of control, to snowball it, so to speak. The one ban I'm not quite sure about is Dragonshire. What do you think about that one, Gareth?
I think the idea there, the bans from Protect Your Nexus, is they've thought it looks like a solo lane ban, if you know what I mean. Like they're saying we don't want to play on maps where the solo lane is completely pivotal. And so, on Braxis and on Dragonshire, if you pick the map, then you get last pick, and you get to counter the opponent's solo lane, and so that really is a map where a team can just control the top lane with the solo laner and really never get pushed out of there either, with a Rexar or Leoric, whatever it is, and just by the matchup that they've chosen. And so it seems to me like Protect Your Nexus is saying, look, we're not so sure-footed in the solo lane. We'll ban those maps where the solo lane is pivotal, and we'll focus more on our team fighting, and we'll get value there. And that's why they're happy to play on Volskaya, on Shrines, those most popular Heroes Lounge maps.
Mm-hmm.
We're just waiting on the map pick to come in. I think it is Volskaya.
You said it, Volskaya. You said
yes.
it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we're going to be going to Volskaya Foundry for Game 1. Now, last season, that was the second most popular map in Heroes Lounge after Infernal Shrines, but it's often been contending for first in some of the divisions, so not a surprise by any stretch to see that map. And it is very teamfight focused generally in the way the teams play it.
It is. It's, in my opinion, Volskaya has a bit of a contradictory. Well, not just a pick. It's a bit of a contradictory map with the game itself because it's one of those maps that has a very predictable objective. Like compare it to Shrines, for example. You don't always know. I think it's the third one that is randomized. Anyways, for Volskaya, it's always mid first and then it's top and then it's bottom. So what you end up seeing is, at least in higher organized team-based play, one team would pick a minor advantage at the beginning of the game. They would take middle point, grab the protector, go top, secure the fountain, play passive until the next protector comes, hopefully get control of the second point with the advantage of the fountain, then go on to bottom with the protector, do the same thing, perhaps get a bit of damage on the fort, open the lane for a keep, then get the third protector if they manage to keep in control of the game. So it's one of those maps that's very A B C. It's almost like you got a textbook approach, which is definitely not set in stone. We've seen some crazy things happen on Volskaya, but for the most part, it's a predictable map.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So it's a more it's a fairly standard, nothing too
Yeah,
spicy, and I think
kind
that's
of.
why teams pick it as a comfort.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense for it to be a popular choice then, huh?
Yeah, exactly. We're just working on getting the lobby set up at the moment. So what? So Volskaya, I think, yeah, fairly standard pick there. In terms of heroes that are going to take priority now, what about these new hero reworks? Because Tracer and Cassia got significantly reworked, and we should mention here while we've got the chance, Untouchable, the level 13 talent for Tracer, is currently banned in Heroes Lounge because it has a bugged interaction where it affects her blink range substantially. Shadow, are you doing some lobby, by the way?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, would you like me to take care of the lobby?
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so Tracer's Untouchable level 13 is banned, and Cassia has just been reworked as well, and so the Cassia I think seems to have gone down in win rate since her rework, whereas Tracer's gone up substantially. So I think we might see Tracer bans, but not Cassia bans. That seems unlikely. Artanis, by the way, he seems to have had a fair few buffs in that last patch, and he can be a monster in the right hands. I mean, I think Artanis might get prioritized earlier on than we will. Let's say earlier than we have been used to until the last patch, for sure. Have you got any thoughts on that, Shadow? Or
Thanos itself is a bit of an interesting theme, I think, because not only has he got certain talents buffed and you see new additions and changes, but he's also a very versatile pick in general in terms of a solo laner. He brings a lot to the table, not only with his mass blind on level 10, but also with his dispositioning and the his unique mechanic of engaging the enemy team. I would expect to see more of Atanis, or at least him being prioritized in the first two phases of the draft. If
yeah,
we see him at all, of course, it might just be flat out banned. I would love to see a Brightwing.
yeah. Well, I think she's had fairly substantial buffs. I mean, that's the thing. Brightwing not often a popular sport. Maybe here in the lower division she has been reasonably prioritized, but yeah, I mean, apart from that, not super highly prioritized. But the last changes certainly substantial. So her phase shift has got a shorter cooldown, so she's less dependent on that level 1 phase shift talent. The polymorph slow has been increased, and now it really feels punishing the slow when you're polymorphed. And the what was the other change? Oh, the spell armor has been buffed to 30 baseline on her pixie dust. Now, 30 spell armor is already really strong, but you can upgrade that by 25 at level 13. So you got 55 yep. spell armor. You can take a pyroblast with 55 spell armor and not notice it. It's a really
it's surprising
armor.
How much 5% makes a difference in both of those Brightwing abilities in those changes. I mean, I'm a healer main, so I could talk to you for hours about those things, but it's enough to say that Brightwing is viable now. She has been for a while, but now even more so with the recent changes, partially because of, like you mentioned, how her talents work, the upgrade of the spell armor being worded as extra 20 or 25 instead of up to 50.
Yeah, that's true. I think Brightwing could be potentially. We could see her coming a lot more into the meta in the coming weeks. Yeah, and so the chat's even talking about the 25% max HP healing. Yeah, so huge percentage healing. I'll notice that Protect Your Nexus have got great portrait synergy as well. I respect a team with portrait synergy for sure, because that's always a sign that you've got the right level of banter in your team.
I mean, Maladio's trying to get us to get a matching portraits for a while in our team, but so far that hasn't worked out.
We've never bothered. sadly, that's to our
own
our mistake.
detriment.
So we talked about the Tracer, the Brightwing, Artanis, and Cassia. I think Zul is still a priority though. He still seems to be looking pretty strong. So I think we might see teams prioritize that. But don't forget the amount that Division 6 loves Kael'thas, because Kael'thas in the lower divisions, I mean, we still anyone who watched the Heroes Lounge draw show will know that we had some stats there, as presented by moi, about how much Kael'thas gets prioritized in different divisions. And basically, as you go up the divisions, the prioritization goes down. For Kael'thas, but in the Rare Cup divisions, which is Division 6 and 7, Kael'thas is like 35% ban rate or something like that. Whereas in the Mythic Championship Division 1, he's got a 0% ban rate. So, I think I think Kael'thas is going to get prioritized, and especially here on Volskaya Foundry, where there's a bit of rough and tumble on the objective. So let's just check. But yeah, so I think Kael'thas might well get prioritized along with other kind of objectives.
Potentially. I guess it also depends whether the any other teams decide to make a play for that Li Ming, because if there's another dangerous mage of to be aware of.
Yeah, Li Ming absolutely looking like a strong prioritized pick at the moment for a lot of players, and I think that's at all levels. Like Li Ming is just consistently threatening. Like they did tweak the Wave of Force disintegrate, but what we might see is just disintegrate getting more value now. So
I think we are.
I'm not sure we are ready. I think we're just waiting.
I'm just making sure we've got everything set up.
But so Li Ming, Kael'thas, and of course the Tracer and the.
Do you think we're gonna see Tracer just spam a band after our changes, or do you not think it's big enough to warrant such a drastic measure to control that?
I think it's unlikely to be particularly prioritized this early. I think teams are not necessarily used to dealing with that just yet. But it's hard to say. And of course, on top of all of this that we just talked about meta, there's also the factor of comfort, and every player has their own kind of different comfort. So I think we're basically ready to go into the draft now in game number 1 in this best of 3 Division 6 match.
Indeed, we are.
I think we'll be heading in momentarily. It's the customary game wait after you click start, which is
which lasts longer than the game itself.
It does. I don't know why the game has no indication.
Come on, dude. I've pressed.
We are in the draft finally. So we had a bit of.
It has begun.
So we are going to start on Volskaya Foundry now. Let's see what happens in terms of first picks. Like I said, there's a lot of different factors at play because we just talked about meta rather than
just what's comfortable for them.
Yeah, and of course comfort is more important than meta, I always say.
Exactly.
The chat is asking, when's the match starting? Well, that's an easy answer. Right now. The draft is starting for game number 1. It's a best of 3 series, and this draft, drafts usually take about 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes, the action will be up and running. But first, the draft is worth us having a gander at. So, first ban coming in here from Protect Your Nexus. What do we expect?
Is it
all
going
things
to be this
considered?
Chaotas / Ming? I don't expect Protect Your Nexus to ban out the zoo. Probably leave that up to Dark Roller. They're thinking about it. The moment of truth. They are not going to ban
have
anything.
not
That is
banned.
also a viable option.
That's
It's a reasonable, understandable. It's valid strategy. I guess.
it's an unusual strategy. It might be for playing mind games.
Whether it's valid or not, I guess it remains
if you
to be
don't
seen.
ban, you sort of threatening. Oh, am I banning choke all, or am I doing some? It can confuse.
Mind games, yeah. Maybe Skylord just went to get himself a coffee before the match starts.
Yeah, because I think he definitely didn't have enough time while we were setting up the lobby.
Yeah. Definitely didn't take me 2 hours.
So I think we have seen a ban though, and that is the Zool. I wonder.
Okay.
The thing is, so I mean, the argument might be he left. He only banned one hero, so that there's more heroes left over for his team for that first pick. But then you could also, you can always just ban Nova, or you can ban, something that you're never going to pick. Hanzo, Cho'Gall, whatever. Yeah, just take something. Just take something off the table you don't want to.
Something outlandish, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another recently changed hero, and a very very threatening mage-like character. So Dark Roller definitely going for the mage bans. Janna first pick, not surprised. They're a very strong tank, leads rotations well, has a lot of crowd control, has a decent amount of wave clear.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Joanna and ETC definitely the most popular tanks by far at the moment. So we might well see an ETC pickup right now from.
Oh, it's a Garrosh.
Dark Roller. No, yeah, they're going for a Garrosh instead.
Talk to us about your opinion of Garrosh, Karis. I've been dreaming for this moment.
I'm not his biggest fan, that's for sure. I think it's kind of a little bit. You have to go for the throw, and if you don't get the throw, if you throw somebody and they survive, you can feel a little bit vulnerable, and he's so vulnerable to that consistent poke. And Joanna's just going to be all the way up there in front of Garrosh saying, you can throw me if you like, but I'm fine. I've got Iron Skin that'll stop you throwing me as well if I don't want to be thrown. And in the meantime, Hanzo's always going to be chipping away at that Garrosh, so it can be tough for him. On the other hand, if he does manage to get in, catch the Stukov, catch the Hanzo even without a jump available for Hanzo, there is a real chance for them to follow up and kill. I just don't think it just might not work out quite like that in practice, as the next bans are coming in from Dark Brawler. They've banned, of course, the Malthael. Why is that? Of course, I don't know. Are they threatening a Deathwing?
I'm not sure either. They could be. I mean, Deathwing hasn't been banned. It's certainly them banning Deathwing. It could mean that they're looking to pick the Deathwing, but so far their draft doesn't look like it's suited for a Deathwing, because even if you ban Malthael, that's still leaving Lorik and Greymane open to the bigger counters to Deathwing, and you would want to at least have one of those in your draft already if you want to confidently at least move into a Deathwing. Definitely an option though.
Yes, and
especially with the Leeming not being a threat. Those max range globes could hurt you.
I have to say I like the Lucio ban because he was threatening to speed Garrosh in and catch the Stukov.
Oh.
So that's a nice combo. There's still a threat of going Zarya, by the way, to do that. It's whether these players play Zarya. We don't know that. I mean, you do need to be comfortable on the hero, but that's another common way to speed Garrosh in and catch somebody. And that is one way in which Garrosh is a devastating tank at the moment, is when he has somebody to help him get in there.
I want to say I am a fan of Lily. Purely because we don't see a lot of Lily anymore. She has been eclipsed by others such as Rhaegar and what have you. But I mean, the Panda is, well, definitely not a shiny healer. It's a very reliable one. And I've got a soft spot in my card for her ever since I played her in the beta with like 5 FPS on my old laptop. Anyways, moving past that, the Hacker and Maiev, are you surprised to see a global on Volskaya, Karis?
A little bit, because it's not really, you don't get a huge advantage, but you can still make plays with it. You can still make, plays with global wherever you are, you know, even on team with the Spider Queen, and there's always just the threat that the hacker can go and soak somewhere, and then at the last second he can come join them on a support camp or something, and you know Sonya has to then make choices. Do I deal with the Dahaka push and counter Dahaka soak, mirror Dahaka, in which case I'm maybe leaving my team vulnerable in a 5v4, or do I go off with my team and potentially miss some soak or pushing?
I'm a bit surprised by the Maiev. We shall see how this plays out, especially into a Lily.
Me too. And it's not just the Lily, it's also the Garrosh, because we've been talking about the Garrosh,
yeah.
what is his weakness? Is that kind of
closing the gap.
Yeah, exactly. And Hanzo's going to be there poking away. That's great. But if you have another, you know, mage or something poking as well, that would have been really annoying for Garrosh to deal with. Maiev, on the other hand, has to get stuck in. By the way, you still have 2 minutes, viewers, to bet your points on these teams. Which team you think will win? Exclamation mark bet A, and a number of points for Protect Your Nexus, and exclamation mark bet B, and a number of points for Dark Brawler. So, you know, get those points bets in, and of course it costs you nothing except virtual points, which, you know, they're not money affiliated in any way. So it's all for good, clean fun. I mean, just based on this draft, Shadow Writer, who do you think is the favorite?
I would say Dark Brawler got the better draft overall. Although not by much. I would usually bounce it back to you, Karis, but we're already into the game. Would you like to kick us off?
Let's take a look at game number 1 in this best of 3 series. And on the left in blue, it's Protect Your Nexus with Azuris on the Hanzo, Mexius on that tank Joanna, Skylaw there on the man with the big arm himself, Stukov, Gamma on the Maiev, and Ovena Lovin on the Dahaka.
And in the right on Volskaya Foundry in red, we've got Dark spelled with 4_brawler. We've got an unpronounceable name on Sonya, Shermankuto, Fojenoir on Lily, Phobos J on Li Ming, Starblood with the easiest name on the Lunara, and Let Out Dur on Garrosh.
I was thinking, is it French? Is it
so
Le Tudor? But it could be Let Out Door.
Let Out Door. It could be.
Which is something that's not, basically, it's something that none of us are at the moment, which is Let Out Doors. Now then, the red team posturing in the mid lane, and you can already see Joanna taking a fair chunk of damage. She did not take the reduced Iron Skin cooldown, which I think might have been very valuable against Garrosh, instead going for the Laws of Hope. And the reason for that is that Li Ming and Lunara are monsters of poke, absolute monsters. And Joanna's going to be taking poke all day long. She wants that Laws of Hope to keep that health regen up and running, so that she's not depending on her Iron Skin to deal with poke, so that she can then, when she has thrown exactly like that, use it to walk to safety.
Exactly, and we've already seen Garrosh looking for a few throws. Hasn't found any yet, but when he does, it's gonna be an explosive moment. Protect Your Nexus getting an early start on the turret camp, already capturing it, getting themselves a nice lead in terms of timing on that turret camp. It can lead to bigger advantages during the first objective point.
Yep, and I think that shows real solid macro calls from Protect Your Nexus, knowing the camp timings here on Volskaya Foundry, going straight in, getting that turret camp up and running. And the reason to get it so early is because it means that when the objective spawns, maybe when the objective is halfway done, they can go and get themselves another turret. Joanna got to be a little bit cautious here.
Trouble. Does she have Iron Skin? I don't think she does. She's falling very low. Is the Lunara damage enough to confirm the kill? No, but if she does turn around and walk in, it might be. It's no in the end of the day. She walks out, Stuko providing enough healing. But this is the danger of Garrosh. You don't have your Iron Skin, even if you're the tank, you are in danger. And if that had been anyone other but the Joanna, it would have been a kill.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Mexias will have to be careful about that, particularly in the later game, when, you know, some of this damage coming out of Lunara and Li Ming will be pretty devastating, and when Sonya will be there as well. So even if Joanna has to be careful. Maiev, though, is the one who's really got to walk on a knife edge this whole game.
Ooh.
Has to go in for the engages, but also, you know, can't go too far in, because if she gets thrown by Garrosh, she could be in real trouble.
Talking about Maiev, she just took a siege camp and recalled. She's going to be in time for the objective, thankfully, for Protect the Nexus. What's surprising is that Dark Brawlers still haven't taken the turret. They're looking for a gank on the Hacker instead, however, in the bottom lane, but the Hacker, he's quite hard to kill, especially if you have stacked essence.
Yes, and in fact, he did have to use his essence to stay alive, so he has lost his essence, but, you know, that's not the end of the world for him. He will be able to get that back off the lanes. By the way, he has gone for tissue regeneration with the globes giving the essence. So I think the combination of that plus the Hero Stalker at level 4 means the Hacker's essence will be up and running fairly swiftly if there's anything, you know, any fights or any globes, both of which seem to be in plentiful supply.
It looks to me like perfect Protect your Nexus are waiting for 7 before they contest to control that point. They're up 1 healing item right now, so they should be feeling rather comfortable with a talent advantage and item advantage. 5 for that point. And indeed, Joanna goes in, doesn't care about the Garrosh. Garrosh in that massive silence from Stukov, he doesn't have throws, so Stukov is not afraid of the Garrosh, just slaps him away. First turret is dropped, that's a nice pull from Maiev, and it looks like Protect your Nexus are going to take control of the point and a Sonya kill to top it off.
Licky, Sonya died quickie. Lovely play from the Hacker there to finish off that fight. I like the division of labour there. Joanna just walks in and says, I'm just going to tank a bunch of stuff. Garrosh was like, I'll do the same, but Garrosh couldn't really tank as much as Joanna there. Oh, lovely kill from Hanzo there that I may have missed on camera, but he did secure the kill on Lunara. And that means they're effectively 3v5 for a while here on this point. I don't know.
It is in a bit of a bad position. The silence is there, and Maiev follows up. Well, that Maiev so far is working out. Tell you that much.
I wonder there why Dark Brawler contested that after they lost the first kill on Sonya. You know, once Sonya was dead, the enemy was only on 1%. There's no reason there for them to continue contesting. They could have just said, we'll go and reset. We could even do a camp, because they still haven't got their turret, by the way.
And talking about camps, Protect your Nexus is already picking up their second turret.
Exactly.
In fun control of experience lead as well.
And they've got the healing item still available. So this is really good map awareness here from Protect your Nexus, knowing how to play the map. Maiev goes in, drops the healing item, pulls in a big tether with 3 members on. Garrosh uses Unstoppable, starts walking away, but Joanna doesn't want to let him go. There's the silence from Stukov, secures the kill, and probably secures the first objective of the game.
Now, the one good thing Dark Brawler have got going for themselves right now is they have a decent amount of damage to protect against the protector, so to speak. Lunara and Li Ming, heroes which are comfortable in poking from safe distance big targets like that protector. Now we see the protector going top immediately for that fountain, possibly, like we talked about earlier. Very predictable move, but still powerful.
Yeah, and I was going to say they'll get the fountain and then they'll run away, but they have got the fountain, sorry. And they are running away, but they are level 10. So when this ends, they may watch out, because Hanzo could just throw up an arrow here, heading straight to that top lane. It is the dragon. Oh no, it's not the dragon's arrow. It's the dragon strike. Sorry, I did not expect that. He has gone the dragon strike. So he wants more of a close quarter fight, because of course the warden's cage. That's going to set up the dragon going in and
probably the idea
damage
there. Yeah. Joanna split talking, a bit of an unusual decision there to have your tank instead of your solo laner soaking. Gets thrown into tower range, presses D, walks out, tanks the globe, still is healthy.
Maiev thinks about going in. Garrosh throws his Li Ming to safety, but has he paid for it with his life? Maiev starts to chase. Oh, Ming's paid for it with her life, because she came in and came a little bit too close to that Maiev, who was going chop, chop, chop.
Yep, Dark Brawler getting caught out. Slightly out of position there. Garrosh looking for a pick and not quite able to secure it quick enough before Protect the Nexus came to the rescue of their team member. And without heroics, obviously, Protect the Nexus being able to pull triggers that Dark Brawler don't yet have access to.
It's a really tough situation for Dark Brawler, because they're now 5 kills down and 2 whole levels, and they're starting to feel really on the back foot in these fights. Now, level 10s, when they come in, will help them. The Lily, though, is going to have to be so careful about where she stands. If she gets tethered in, she'll probably get silenced by Stukov, and that'll stop her from doing her Jug of 1,000 Cups healing, which is going to be so crucial for keeping Garrosh in particular alive. Now, one thing we didn't talk about with regards to the draft is the Garrosh Lily anti-synergy, and this is something that you have to be careful about with tanks who thrive on low HP, and Garrosh is the prime example of that. Garrosh likes to be on low HP. The problem is, Lily's heal, you can't really choose who it goes for. It goes for the hero with lowest percentage HP, and a lot of the time, that's going to be Garrosh if he wants to get value from that armor. So you're left with a situation where either you've got Garrosh running at high HP, as Lunara jumps in looking for the Stukov. Garrosh wants to chase here. In comes the Blessed Shield, catches onto two members, but Li Ming and Lunara are safely back. But the Dragon goes in. Maybe he's going to catch Li Ming. 2 HP! Actually went to 2 HP and she gets away. Beautiful escape there from Phobos J.
What did I just witness? She even tanks another scatter arrow, but doesn't fall anywhere close to to GHP. What was that self by health regen? Yeah, I am speechless. That Li Ming, you gotta feel lucky if you're in her shoes.
Yeah, but on the other hand, they did survive. They did survive to tell the tale again, to tell the tale another day. Now, here's the thing though, they're not level 13 still on the side of Dark Brawler. So they must feel like Protect Your Nexus are a little bit in control right now, as Protect Your Nexus start to just run a little bit away with Soak, and Gamna running safely away from Let Outdoor.
Oh,
that's a gank onto Sonya.
Excuse me, yeah, Sonya getting licked again in the bottom lane. Whew, it's a bad day to be a Sonya. Protect Your Nexus in control not only of experience so far, but also of item and map control.
Is this a counter kill onto Hacker?
Is it? It's a potential. Dragon Strike not as good at zoning as Dragon Arrow. Garrosh looking for a throw, but perhaps on cooldown. Li Ming doing a rather interesting melee chase there. Gets out with more than 2 HP, I want to say, this time, so not even close there for
yeah,
Li
but
Ming.
Still only 2 digits. I mean, this Li Ming is really pushing the bleeding edge, which is, you know, that's good. That shows you understand the limits of the hero. It is full orb build Li Ming, though. That's why she couldn't get that kill at melee range. That's the thing, is it was a slightly surprising jump in at melee with an orb build. Like, you know, normally if you've gone Calamity build, that's when you jump in and you go for those boom 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 kills. But here, Li Ming with the orb build, you want to sit back a little bit further and just throw the orbs, get the resets on the orb. Here comes the Joanna Blessed Shield. Lunara jumps to safety. Li though, not so lucky. She does not have a jump.
No. And it seems like Protect Your Nexus, they've got their pick. They're happy to fall back, reset, do the smart thing, keep control of the objective. It looks like they are dictating the pace of the game so far. Sonya looking to get as much value out of her role as possible. Unfortunately, she doesn't fight too many. And Garrosh is stuck in the bottom lane dealing with the Hacker. And obviously the Hacker has a global and he's out pushing the lane. So that's as good as it gets, really, if you're the Hacker player there in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and Garrosh has left, you know, that wave of Soak to go and, you know, go and help contest the objective. But the objective's already gone. And so it's just a little bit too late for Dark Brawler, because of course they didn't have 16 and they couldn't contest the objective in time, and they've missed the bottom Soak now as well. So they're starting to feel like Protect Your Nexus is very much in control of this game, pushing them around a little bit. There's a protector here. It's going to just thump Garrosh in the face. Although Lunara putting a lot of pressure onto Maiev. Well played from Starbleed, just threatening the Maiev, making her run away. Garrosh trying to chase, trying to catch onto Gamna, but there is still a protector here, and he could just punch Garrosh into the towers. So he's got to be a bit careful at this stage.
Yep, and it's interesting that a protector committed there for the top 4. Oh, Garrosh in a bit of a trouble, pulls off a nice stun, and the Jugs are able to keep him alive. Being constantly healed while he's low HP, really saving him that mechanic there. He gets licked. He's still alive. 44 armor good, but not good enough to save you from the Stukov, it seems like.
Yeah, Lily does not have the cleanse at level 7, which means that she can't save people from the Hacker Tongues or the Stukov Silence. She's gone for the good stuff instead, which, you know, does do more, you know, gives her more healing output, but does mean she doesn't have anything to deal with that CC. It's a 2.5 level deficit right now. Let's take a look at those XP numbers, and you'll see where that XP is coming from. It's a 4k lead only in minions, so they did a decent job here soaking up Dark Brawler. I mean, given the situation, I think it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse.
But then you've got another 4k from heroes, and you've got more passive XP coming in for Protect Your Nexus because they've taken structures, and you've got the structure XP, and of course more Merc camps taken. So it's just the XP of control. It's just the XP of we've controlled the game and we've got a decent number of kills.
However, if Dark Brawler have one chance, that would be level 16 talent here, because the big difference between 60 and 20 in experience. It looks like Garrosh looked for a bit of a prematurely move there against the hacker before 16, but so far Dark Brawler looking like they want to posture for a fight after they pick up their levels, their level 16s, and they have.
Maev let out door, didn't spot it. Garrosh has just run through a little bit of trouble. Will be able to run away for now. I do think
a bit of opposition.
Yes, and that's a huge tether. They're catching on to 3 into the Stukov. Roots is absolutely brutal. Lily's gone down, and in comes the Dragon Strike. Leaving us no choice but to run along the corridor and get absolutely melted by that Dragon. Garrosh gets the stuns, but will still die to that Hanzo damage.
Guess what? Even talents, it doesn't help if you're fighting a 4v4 situation. 3v4 rather, excuse me. When you're a man down, and this is going to be another 2 forts falling down from the red, and perhaps Janna, is she? No, she is safe enough without bless you from Janna. There is not enough crowd control potential there to pick up the kill on Sonya. But Protecting Nexus is very close to 20 now.
Yeah, and that's a real worry right now for Dark Brawler. So I do think they've done the right moves on Dark Brawler. They were trying for ganks on this to hacker. I think that's the right play when they're down so much in XP. They're not just going to be able to soak back. They've got to find picks. And Garrosh and Sonya have been looking for that to hacker. The problem they have is the reactions.
You want to be Lunara. Oh, yeah. Dangerous.
The problem they have is that Protecting Nexus are just good at being a little bit all over the map and responding really well to the movements of Dark Brawler. So Protecting Nexus really showing great rotations at the moment so far on Volskaya Foundry.
That 2v1 situation against the hack could very quickly turn into a 5v4 as Garrosh is still stuck on mid, clearing waves and catching up in XP. Why is Leeming chasing here? She is looking for something, but she's very out of position. Blessio comes out, Dragon Strike as well. Does Leeming get out? She's very low. She's 2 HP again, and she does die this time around. So slight miscommunication perhaps there. Leeming looking for extra poke damage, not realizing that her tank was not with her to provide.
I really don't think they should be here. They don't think they should be contesting this. Yes, and it's another 2 kills on the deck. Like, they'd already lost Leeming here. It's so ambitious there when you're down a talent tier and 3 levels and you're already down a player. It's very ambitious to contest. I know it's their own turret and they feel like it's on their side of the map. It's just, you know, at some point you've got to just say, yes, you can have the turret. We need to get back into this game, and the way to do it isn't to throw everything at the wall.
No, definitely no. I mean, especially when you've lost the 2 forts, it's really, you know, it's become open space at this point. It's not really on either side of the map. It's more of a dead man's, whoever's got the numbers, the power, they can take it. And Protecting Nexus going for what is the 4th healing item in the game, and currently the 3rd one they are in possession right now. This is the biggest amount of healing items I've ever seen stacked, I think.
Yes, they've got everything basically on the side of Protecting Nexus. They've got 2 healing items. No, is that 3 healing items?
No, they've got 3.
3 healing items.
The biotic emitters. Do they stack?
I don't know. Tell us in the chat if you know whether the biotic emitter healing auras stack. They've got 3 of them, and they've got 2 turrets as well. And they could pick up their own turret as well if they wanted. In comes the Maev cage though. Immediately onto 2 members. Li and Li Ming are down. And that's another 2 kills. And of course, it's even more control of this game.
Yep, even the Dragon Strike was a bit of an overkill there. I mean, it's a low cooldown, so lower cooldown than Cage at least. So every time Cage goes off, theoretically Dragon Strike should come out as well. And Protecting Nexus being smart about this and already pushing and getting damage done on the keep wall before the Protector's even there. That was ambitious from Lunara. She gets away with a bit of an extra poke. Whether it's going to matter in the long... Oh,
well aimed from Hanzo.
Geometry.
Lovely from Azuriz, who is looking so strong in this game. Really brilliant Hanzo play that we've seen from Azuriz on the Hanzo. Just poking all day, as we knew they would from the start of the game. And here they know they can go for this. They've got the level 20 advantage. Lunara's still dead. Li Ming is up though, and she does have those orb resets. If she can just throw some orbs and reset them onto those protectors, she can maybe start to take it down. But it's too little, too late. Game number 1 going over to protect your Nexus fairly comfortably.
Interesting what we saw, even in the end when it was fairly certain what the outcome of the game was going to be, the fire around the core with the protector already hitting the core. The use of Dragon Strike by Hanzo, they're zoning away Li Ming and Lily from being able to exit their Hall of the Storm without taking a huge chunk of damage. Making sure, just going the extra mile for that extra overkill bit where you talked about Li Ming getting resets and preventing her to do that. Really solid play from Hanzo in that game overall.
Yeah. So, you know, great play from Protect Your Nexus. They looked really well in control of this game. So, a solid performance from them. And I think, you know, they just showed calm sensibility on the map. And the Maiev allowed them to force engages when they wanted it. And other times they just played safe, got camps, and consolidated. And that solid play from Protect Your Nexus just allowed them to build until, you know, at some point the gap was insurmountable for Dark Brawler, who had a really tough time there. Now, to what extent, Shadow Writer, do you think that was attributable to the draft, and to what extent was it the in-game play?
Like we talked about earlier in the draft, both sides had something going for, like, for example, the Garrosh being comfortable with less poke against him only from Hanzo, facing down Maiev. You know, there was something to be said about Dark Brawler's draft as well. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't lost in draft for certain. It felt like, to me, it was just minor things in the beginning of the game that Protect Your Nexus got away with, and that minor lead kept expanding and expanding. And Dark Brawler were constantly on their back foot. They could never take the initiative, so to speak. They were never in a position to or they were in a position to try to come back into the game a few times. It's just Protect Your Nexus covered all their bases and
Yep. I think that's absolutely right, and so credit to Protect Your Nexus, who looked really flawless in this game number one, and they just executed brilliantly there. So I think Dark Brawler have a decent chance though as we go into game number two. I mean, I think they showed some real strengths there, but they just couldn't quite get it all to work together because of how much Protect Your Nexus dominated the map. But yeah, the Garrosh idea is good, but it was not quite working out for them. I do think the Lily Garrosh combination can make you struggle because of what I'm talking about.
It's interesting because I actually like the way I saw Lily and Garrosh perform, especially during Lily's jugs. If you can make sure that Garrosh is the one exposed by is the only one exposed from your team, and the enemy is focusing him, and he's low HP already, and the jugs start hitting, he's practically stuck at low HP, and he's got 30 armor, and the jugs keep hitting him, and the enemy team keeps using abilities on him. It leaves a window of opportunity after that for your team to re-engage before the cooldowns have recharged on the enemy side of things. So I actually like the way that Brawler approached the draft. I think there was something to be said about Lily and Garrosh, perhaps. Unfortunately, it was wider macro issues, I think, that caused bigger concerns for Dark Brawler than the synergy between their tank and their healer.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. So we'll have to see how they respond to that in game number two, because Volskaya was not a particularly macro-focused map. I mean, so I have to say credit to Sonya, who mostly kept up with Zahaka and Soak. I mean, not completely, but given the circumstances of being down in kills and you know, not having any map control, Sonya did a decent enough job of keeping up in Soak.
Perhaps that ties in with what we talked about during the ban phase of the maps, is Protect Your Nexus really respecting the solo laner of Dark Brawler, like we saw Sonya keeping up with the
keeping up with the XP.
Yeah, keeping up with the XP and with the lane presence overall, because she was present for most of the team fights.
Yeah, so I think that's fair. We are going to go to Infernal Shrines for game number two. Now that's been picked up by protect your Nexus because Dark Brawler have opted for first pick in game number 2. Now, maybe for those of you who are new to Heroes Lounge, the way it works is the loser of the first game gets the choice for game number 2 of whether they want map pick or first pick for game number 2. So in this case, Dark Brawler have opted for map pick, which gives first pick. Sorry, no. Dark Brawler have opted for first pick, which means that map pick was given over to Protect Your Nexus, and they've gone for Infernal Shrines. And we are going to get the lobby up and running for that shortly. But yeah, Infernal Shrines, again, another teamfight focused map. The most commonly picked map in Heroes Lounge. What do we expect to be? I mean, is the draft going to be the same?
It's up there with it's a similar type of map. I want to say with Volskaya Foundries, it's a fairly predictable map. It's a 3-lane map, of course. I want to say is it a bit larger? Is it really? I'm not sure, but the same type of things in general are important to your draft on Infernal Shrines as Volskaya Foundry. You want point control. You want zoning, perhaps a bit more prioritization on the on structure damage, and not specifically structure damage, but siege damage against the guardians of the objective. So things like Reyna, perhaps.
Yeah. So Reyna with that exterminate. Is it exterminator? I've no idea what it's called. Exterminator.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, is particularly effective against those shrine monsters. Kael'thas is very traditionally focused here. Now, we saw him banned in the first round in game number 1. I suspect he's going to get banned in the first round here in game number 2 as well, because Infernal Shrines is even more valuable than he is on Volskaya. Rhaegar could be another option. He's one of the top healers at the moment, and we're seeing a lot more teams go towards Bloodlust. But even without the Bloodlust, just having that lightning shield, AoE damage, and decent single target healing is great here on the shrines. So I think we are almost ready to go.
I think we got everything down. Reyna portraits looking good. Captain positions looking good.
Yeah, we are basically ready to start the draft. Yeah, I mean, any thoughts from you, Shadow, on what else we might see here on Infernal Shrines?
I expect to see a repetition of the Hacker because it looked like they work for Protect Your Nexus, and arguably it's easier to get value from the Hacker on this specific map. So that might be a repetition. If it works, why change it? Here we go into number 2 of today's best of 3 series, Protect Your Nexus versus Dark Brawler.
Yes, this is Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown, and this is Division 6's Protect Your Nexus versus Dark Brawler. Welcome everyone who's just tuned in. So, first ban here on Dark Brawler. Now, we saw the Tatterdar get banned as well in the last game. I think that may well be
yes, just as I deserve.
Game number 2. Welcome, Oriol, who's just resubscribed for a gazillion months. I couldn't actually see the number, but it was many. Thank you for your continued support to Heroes Lounge. We love it. It helps Heroes Lounge keep running smoothly. Thank you for your subscription. What was I saying? Bans. Yes, so bans. There's the Kael'thas ban.
Kael'thas, I mean, is that a surprise?
I would say no.
No, definitely not. Like we saw, he's popular within the division, and it's just such a good map for Kael'thas. I mean, it doesn't matter if you go Q build, W build, whether you go Convection, Pyroblast, Phoenix. He's just great on the map specifically because of the way his kit functions. Protect Your Nexus, banning out the zoo just like in game number 1, so they don't want to face that. It's part of their strategy, it seems like.
Look at that mage prioritization, banning the Jaina.
It's interesting because I believe the Dark Brawler did something similar in the last game. I believe they banned Tassadar after they banned... Who Who did they ban first? It was another mage, wasn't it?
It was Tass, yeah. Tass and Kale. So...
Tass and Kale, yeah, so...
But I don't think Ming is the choice here on Infernal Shrines.
No,
Whoa.
definitely not. And Azmodan, okay.
Now
let's
we're
get some
talking, ladies
basketball.
and gentlemen. Now we are talking. Let's get that betting open so people can bet on who they think will win game number 2 in this best of 3 series. Exclamation mark bet A and the number of points to protect your Nexus, the winners in game number 1, or exclamation mark bet B and the number of points for Dark Brawler, who've just picked up the Azmodan, but that means they don't have the Joanna that maybe they wanted to go with it to get those stacks up and running.
Yeah, potentially that could have been the reason. The Janna making a comeback and the Sonya. I gotta say, I absolutely love Sonya as a solo laner, and I love her even more so in Infernal Shrines. The healing you get with your whirlwind during the objective is just obscene.
Yeah, I still think, I mean, absolutely Sonya's going to be a real problem on those shrines, and they have to have some lockdown to deal with that. By the way, it's a reverse of the solo laners here.
Yeah,
so it's a Hacker for Dark Brawler and Sonya this time for Protect Your Nexus. I do think having the global is more advantageous here on shrines than it was on Volskaya Foundry.
Yep, I would tend to agree with you there, Karis. It's interesting. Both teams taking a leaf out of their opponent's book, so to speak. I specifically, if you're going for a global on Infernal Shrines, I would say the Hacker is your better choice because of the way the bushes, or I suppose the what are they, fans or gases or whatever, you just call them bushes, around the objective are positioned. So basically you global in with the Hacker, you get out the bush, you got the movement speed, you're already in your opponent's faces. Second ban phase, we see Protect Your Nexus actually banning a mage, which is interesting given that they've not picked their own mage yet.
Yeah, and Dark Brawler have one. I mean, yeah, the Gul'dan ban very surprising to me because Gul'dan Asmo is not usually the damage duo that you're looking for. Now, I have to say the tank choice for Dark Brawler is really, really crucial here. They have to do a number of things. They have to set Azmodan up with his stacks, and they have to control Sonya and maybe this other DPS coming in here, Greymane, exactly. So now you could look at an Arthas who would control the Greymane nicely and would set up Asmo. They've gone for the Mal'Ganis, very reasonable indeed. But
and confident.
he won't set up. He doesn't have the wave clear facilities for Azmodan that maybe they wanted. But maybe the other DPS coming in here. I'd like to see a Reyna because you were talking about that earlier. I'd like to see a Reyna here from Starbleed.
The Reyna would make sense, definitely.
That would be juicy and round out the draft.
Is it going to? Yep, there it is.
That's it.
The knowledge, Karis. The knowledge.
The K stands for knowledge, and in comes the final pickup here, the healer. Now this healer's got to deal with the Azmodan damage and the Reyna damage. I think Lucio is still a great option. You know, we saw them ban the Lucio last game. Could Skylord pick up the Lucio?
It's a Greymane and a Sonya with full stat threatening August. I want to say Rhaegar. This is Rhaegar.
This Rhaegar could be Rhaegar, but they have gone for the Lucio.
It is Lucio. I have no knowledge. Karis has all the knowledge.
How do I do a knowledge with my hand? Wait, hang on. I'm trying to do this on camera. No, I can't. I'm not very good at this. It's not gone right. Anyway, I tried to do the K, but it's not. It's not coming.
You try. It's
but Lucio, he will deal with that sustained poke from Azmodan once he gets up and running. And then the thing is, he needs a bit later game Lucio, so maybe that's more like level 16. But that's when Azmodan's going to be getting stacked as well. So I actually think that's a great pickup from them on the side of Protect Your Nexus. And when Mal'Ganis comes in looking for those engages, looking for that, you know, that sleep, boop, get back Mal'Ganis. You've been pushed back by the sound boop thing. Sound wave, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. Probably not going to see high five, but
I think we probably won't see high five.
There's no second Lucio to high five the first Lucio, so big disadvantage there.
Exactly. So Le Tudor on Azmodan has got definitely, you know, the biggest job in this game, and that is to be a sort of hyper carry. But don't underestimate how much Shemenktor has to do on that Reyna. As we go into game number 2, in this best of 3 series. And on the left, in blue, it's Lounge Veterans Protect Your Nexus with Mexius again on that Joanna, Azure is on the Falstad, Gamna on the Greymane, we've got Hounds of Love on Sonya, and Skylore, the healer, on Lucio.
And on the right in red, currently 1 point down in the series is Team Dark Brawler, whose names I'm about to butcher for the 2nd time in a row. We've got Sherman Kita playing Stukov, led out there on Asmodan. What could be potentially be read as Phobos SJ on the Morganis, Foudre Noir on the Hacker, and Starblood on Reyna. Thank you, Starblood, for having a easy name to read. I can't stress this enough. Right, so 4 versus 5 on mid. Sonya's already top lane, looking to get an extra bit of XP. Morganis going in, setting up some stacks for Asmodan. Postad's got licked, but he burrows out of trouble. He shouldn't die here. Wait, I take that back. First blood being picked up by Dark Brawler in a much better start in game number 2 than they had in game number 1, definitely.
Brilliant play from Dark Brawler. They're looking a lot stronger already, and the game hasn't even started yet. I love the laser value from Asmodan. He knows how to use that laser, when to use it. He has gone auto-attack build, which against the Joanna is a little bit audacious, but, you know, not unreasonable, because whenever he's not blinded, he will get serious stacks out of that. Right now his priority is just stacking off minions, and there we go, seeing them attempt to set them up with Mal'Ganis. Running at 25 stacks so far, nothing too exciting, but it's when those auto attacks start coming online a bit later that we'll see some real big value. Now here's the level 1 talent that surprises me a little bit, and that's Ace in the Hole from Reyna. That's a little bit old hat. I think more commonly you see Reyna's pick up Exterminator these days, particularly on something like Shrines, when, you know, it'll get huge objective value, but also
Yeah.
it's not just that, but it's also the fact that there aren't actually many slows to set up that Ace in the Hole.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that Ace in the Hole usually makes a lot of sense with like Anathas, like we were thinking about it in the draft, but like you said, there's not that many slows outside of Stukov's slow, perhaps.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Yeah,
camp has been picked up.
Yeah,
And Protect Nexus doing their thing.
I
Getting camps,
wonder.
getting control.
I suspect this is something that Dark Brawler have got to be careful of, because they showed early on in this game already that they can fight like the best of them, and they've got good team fighting, good pick potential. Mal'Ganis, in fact, has to be careful here, sleeping away, and yeah, he gets away to safety. That's not going to be an issue for them.
Top.
Oh.
Sonya falling very low, but gets away as the tongue barely ends. Goes in, gets healed. And is there a tongue? No, there is not. There is a spear, however. Who Essence is healing the Hara for a lot. Sonya there, I don't think she can stay in that lane. Not as it is. Meanwhile, Dark Brawler taking the time to take a camp of their own. As Fosta has half bribed the Bruiser camp, I think. He had only one stack, yep.
Yeah, I do like to see Dark Brawler picking up these camps, because what I was going to say actually is that they struggled a bit in terms of camp timings and macro presence last game, but here they are starting to show a bit more presence on that, and you know, they are getting their Bruiser camp up and running just before this objective, and then they can have a nice brawl and get Asmo some stacks nicely as Mal'Ganis steps back away from that Falstad.
3 minutes and a half into the game, the experience tabs very much so even. The Hacker opting to join the team fight rather early.
Yeah, Sonya got to be careful. The Hacker's got sitting around looking to try to find a tongue onto anyone. If he catches Lucio, that will be a dead Lucio. Lucio, so unkillable when he's not CC'd, so killable when he is. Mal'Ganis steps up, nice silence from Stukov, zones a little bit. In comes the Mal'Ganis, swipes, catches onto 2 members. He sleeps out of there though. He's falling pretty low. The Joanna blind comes in and threatens Reyna.
Yep, Sonya falling very low, getting licked again. And is this going to be the kill on Sonya? No, it is not. The Streak of Silence just barely catches, doesn't capture. She gets the spear out, but more importantly, Dark Brawler, they have control of the shrine for the time being. And Greymane falls to Asmodan in mid. Asmodan definitely, well, working out, so to speak, Dark Brawler so far.
Yeah.
Nexus contesting in a 4v5 situation, but can they really afford to do that?
And then nine down, and Asmo's starting to
Yeah.
really get value on these shrines. This is where Le Tudor on the Asmo is getting value. That's a huge sleep. Is it going to be a dunk to follow? I don't think the dunk was available. It's just come off cooldown, but they have still secured themselves this first Punisher. The problem they have is that Bruiser camp in the top lane is still pushing up, but the hacker's immediately responding.
There.
That's great call,
Okay.
great call there from the Dahaka player. And now with this Punisher pushing, they can start to get a little bit of value. Asmodan's saying, look, I'm not going to push with the Punisher because it's quite hard to push with objectives now since those fort changes where they focus heroes very easily, particularly for a hero like Asmo who dunks and does a lot of AoE damage. So he's trying to get this mid camp instead. The problem is Asmo is not the greatest at clearing camps, and it will take him a while. And Greymean's about to find out that this is going on.
Oh, they know, Asmodan, you're in trouble. You better run. Stukov, can you save your teammate? No. The answer to that question has been revealed. Asmodan falls down. The first kill picked up by Protect Your Nexus, actually, which is arguably a lucky kill, a lucky finding the Asmodan there on the camp. And just being able to pick him off like that. Not to take away from the fact, obviously, that it's a kill, but still, Sonya barely survives. Good map awareness there from Hands of Love on the top lane, realizing that Morganis is heading her way.
Yeah, and they are going to play a bit safer now. I think it was an ambitious camp attempt from Asmodan. I like the idea of like I say, of pushing,
in theory,
pushing away from, but it's just he needed his teammates to help him, and you know, either go with your team or don't go at all. I think that's a good motto for a really team-focused MOBA such as this one. Asmo stacks 72 and counting. He did not go for the he did go for the auto attack bombardment.
Reyna's in a lot of trouble. His self-heal, however, saves him. Greymean dives to follow after him. However, he went out rather quickly, just as quickly as he'd gone in, which is a smart decision, as those towers would have threaded through his armor and perhaps put him in a bad position. Level 10 in for both teams. Mighty Gus, no surprise there. That conversion, however, from Morganis, that's an interesting choice.
That is a very spicy pick, and that adaptation from Dahaka, not the normal pick either. Oh, this is a camp invade, and Reyna is potentially getting caught here. No, he steps back nicely, and in comes Asmo from the flank. Does some damage to Falster. Mal'Ganis wants to get that sleep onto Joanna, but doesn't quite get there in time. Falster's got to start running though. Dunk from Asmo just to try and catch Lucy on the back, but doesn't quite.
Dahaka on top barely gets his adaptation health before Sonya managed to get the kill, and she is tanking towers. The Sonya that is. Dahaka unfortunately doesn't have a second dunk to lick her again. In that small scuffle over the siege camp, I think we saw a very good I don't know if it was planned or not, but the Stukov zoning was very good because it forced half of Protect Your Nexus away, the ones that were coming through the middle part, isolating the top. But hold that thought for 1 second here. Here's that conversion getting interrupted on Falstad, and Morganis in a lot of trouble. Greymean commits for the kill, and he finds not much Stukov can do about that.
I didn't quite see what it was that interrupted him there. I thought all the interrupts were on the cooldown. Obviously, it might have been a Lucio boot, which we were talking about being a problem for Morganis, is that, you know, a constant annoying interruption from the Lucio Q. And if we take a look at Lucio talents, he went for the reduced cooldown on the sound wave, where if he does it while he's wall riding, which, you know, as a Lucio player, you are usually trying to be wall riding. So Skylaw very aware of what his job is in this game. Brilliant call there from Skylaw, and it's allowed them to secure a little bit of an objective advantage here, but not an insurmountable one. And of course, Dark Brawler will be in to contest this.
Yep, they're coming back in full HP, full mana. We see quite a few blue health bars falling low. The red on the red side of things looking pretty healthy so far, and this looks like a fight. Dark Brawler are able to take and perhaps even win. Hold that second. Reyna getting very low, being forced back. Sound barriers off, and Morganis is actually the one who's going to die. I want to say, yep, Dark Conversion, not enough time for that to go out, and Greymean follows up with a second kill on the hacker. This surely must be an objective for Protect Your Nexus at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think this is for sure not contestable now. Asmo might throw some dunks in, more to get stacks than anything else. I don't think there's any chance.
Oh,
Reyna
overstayed.
Yeah, overstayed is welcome there, and not even Stukov can save him at this point. I have to say, this Stukov has been phenomenal, and they did get to 39, by the way, on the red team, Dark Brawler. 39 monsters on the shrine before losing it. So good effort from Asmo and Reina to try to secure that objective, but unfortunately
very
they had to
close.
give their life.
You know, sometimes it's very close, you don't get it, but it's still worth trying. You know, Heroes of the Sun is one of those games where you always try, no matter how bad it looks, and that doesn't apply only to core situations when you're losing your core. Oh, that Punisher, however, the jump is huge. It's a 3-man stun with a 5-man or 4-man route to follow up. Sorry. However, no one has died. Protecting Nexus hesitating to commit there. For
No,
it's
it's the Stukov. This Shemenktor on the Stukov with these swipes has saved his team about 5 times now. Brilliant play from the Stukov. Shemenktor really the standout character so far on Dark Brawler. And the silences and the swipes both doing a great job zoning and saving his team. So they're still in the game, Dark Brawler. They're still in the game, and they're only a level down. And Asmo, of course, gradually stacking up. 133 stacks so far. That's a little bit slower than you would hope to stack.
Oh, that's only frontline down in the in bottom lane for the time being now. Stukov joining his front line, but definitely not a team fight you can take without damage dealers there.
They did get away. They did get away fairly simply at the end of the day.
Away.
But the hacker did use his essence. I think he will get that back reasonably easily. Using his tissue regeneration.
What's starting to worry me here, however, is that Protecting Nexus, they are really controlling the map and they're controlling structures. Hold on, there's another team fight breaking off. I want to say no. Gust Bullet goes off. Hits the hacker. I want to say adaptation is popped off a bit prematurely. Doesn't get any value as far as I can see. Here's the Sonya out, looking for a counter engage. Mal'Ganis is the one who actually goes in to engage. And both teams posturing. It does look like Dark Brawler won a team fight technically before the enemies hit 16, but they can't stay forever in that bottom lane as there's a camp pushing mid.
The problem that Dark Brawler are having at the moment is their comp requires long, sustained, brawly fights.
Do you know
not managing. Oh,
requires sustain? It's Asmo on the bottom lane.
Absolutely, and he's been picked off by that Greymane. But in order to get those Asmo stacks up and running, they need to have sort of long sustained fights where Asmo is just throwing out auto attacks with that auto attack build, and that gives him loads of stacks if he can do that. Now they're looking to make an engage without having their Asmo down up. That's surprising because if you look at the hero damage, he's doing a sizable chunk, and with him dead, I'm surprised they took that engage. And again, a talent down, and I think that's something that they did in game number 1 as well a couple of times. And it can be very tough to take those kind of fights when you're down a talent and a player.
I mean, perhaps they did the math. They saw the Greymane on bottom and they thought, okay, this is a decent opportunity. It's a 4v4. We don't have a talent, but hey, let's give it a go. Like you said, it didn't work out, and like you pointed out, Asmodan, he's a big chunk of damage missing. Oh, wait a minute. Yaka being picked off in bottom, I believe.
Yeah, he got caught there by Sonya and Greymane, and they were able to secure that kill.
Okay, next objective coming up, and Dark Brawler, they've dropped the kill just before the hack. However, he has global. You'll be able to join the objective in a timely manner. And if Dark Brawler managed to pick up 16, technically it could be an even fight. This could be a time for them to start regaining control of the game.
Yeah, Asmo's nearly at 200 stacks. That will give him the bonus, the bonus auto attack damage with his after people have been hit by the Q. So the 2-door needs those stacks. He should be able to get them now from this dunk here. And then, but in the meantime, Reyna's been absolutely massacred here by people running in. The Stukov swipes were not in time this time to save the team. Shemenktor goes down as well. And now this might be a bloodbath. 2 more going to go down. Mal'Ganis and the hacker. Mal'Ganis yet to get any value from his heroic.
Yeah.
Because
I was just going to say, I don't think Mal'Ganis has managed to use his ultima yet. Every time it's been interrupted, it feels like.
It's a really tough game for him because there's just so many interrupts from Joanna, from Lucio, the Gust potentially, the Spear from Sonya. It's a really tough game for Mal'Ganis to get that kind of heroic off. And, there's a lot of burst that comes out from Greymane and Falstead as well. And they just tear down that Mal'Ganis before he can do anything. They have got the level 16, but that Punisher's going to march on that bottom. It's not game over though. They can still defend this Punisher. They may have to give the bottom keep and they may have to bait the Punisher to the mid, but they will still be in the game. And maybe they will have a chance at a fight for level 20.
Yep, as long as Protect the Nexus don't get 20 in time, Dark Brawler could look for a fight behind the Punisher, they could look, like you said, to pull the Punisher to the mid keep. There are a few different options that they could go for, and it looks like they're just going to passively defend the keep, which is the safest option. I actually
Reyna,
like
you're
that.
very far
Oh, no,
forward, my
Reyna.
lad. And that's
Yeah,
big.
that was a slight mistake, well, rather big mistake actually. But Reyna's overstepping like that. Even his self heal didn't save him. Bless comes out in the back. Another decent swipe from Suko, preventing a follow up. But Mal'Ganis, yep, dies there from the Punisher. That
And
Punisher doesn't last forever.
you can see again the short cooldown is on for his dark conversion because he tried to cast it before dying, but the Punisher
And there
said
you
no.
go.
I've got the interrupt. This time it really might be game. The silence comes in from Stukov. There's a bit of value,
Ooh,
but the
the
wind
wind
tunnel
tunnel.
is brutal. Can they get round the core to just survive? No, they can't.
Absolutely no.
It's a 5-man team wipe. It's a Punisher pushing on court. It's going to be GG. Well played. It's going to be 2-0 for Protect Your Nexus, who have won all 3 of their matches so far this season. 2-0. Well played to them.
Show of confidence indeed from Protect Your Nexus, and this game wasn't nearly as snowbally as the first one. Dark Brawler fighting back in the early game and Protect Your Nexus, they didn't hesitate despite getting 2 of their heroes picked. They responded properly. They still played an outstanding macro game, really showing us what this game is all about.
Yeah, I really respect the way Protect Your Nexus have played this, and they've looked really confident throughout the whole series. But in particular, in this game, they actually, Protect Your Nexus were a little bit on the back foot early doors when we saw some nice initiative from Dark Brawler. They got that first objective. They got some nice picks, but it's not. It just wasn't enough because. Yeah, Protect Your Nexus kind of just calmed down, controlled the map again, and then they started finding picks. And I did get the feeling that when Dark Brawler fell behind, that's when they sort of, they weren't really quite working on the same page. And I think, like we were saying, maybe this is about experience. Protect Your Nexus has been around for, donkey's years. And Dark Brawler, a new team this season, so they're maybe not quite coordinated together in those moments when they're behind, because as every shot caller will tell you, it's easy to shot call when you're ahead. It's a lot tougher to shot call when you're behind.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I think definitely experience played a part there, in perhaps communication in the later stages of the game. Dark Brawler, they did fall apart a bit in terms of making those coordinated plays that are necessary to win in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
Great performance, however, like we noticed by Sukov, those were some massive plays throughout the game by the healer from the Dark Brawler side of things. I personally don't play Sukov enough, but I'm always impressed when I see a Sukov that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, yeah, great play from the Stukov. I mean, and look, great play from the whole of Dark Brawler at the start of that game. I think they really had some good efforts at the start of that, and they were doing some, getting the right ideas, but it's not quite worked out overall.
It looks like Protect Your Nexus are up for a winner's interview.
Okay, let's just take a couple of seconds before we head into that.
No,
but
worries.
Yeah, I think credit to Dark Brawler. They had the right ideas. They just couldn't quite get it together against the dominating performance there of Protect Your Nexus.
Yeah, they're looking strong. Protect Your Nexus. That is. I mean, the confidence is there. The track record is there. 3 games in a row, 2-0. They are looking at those playoffs at the end of the season, and if they continue in the same manner, I can certainly see them being in the playoffs and perhaps even winning them. I know it's a bit early to cast predictions for playoffs and such, but
right. I think we're going to head into an interview with Skylaw of Protect Your Nexus. So we are going to go there.
I need more.
Just a second.
Interview.
So we're just waiting for for that to get set up. So sadly, people won't be able to see your face for this shadow, but they can still hear you.
That's okay.
So yeah, I mean, what do you think was the magic ingredient for Protect Your Nexus? I mean, we talked about their macro presence and just being aware of camp timings and stuff like that. Is that the secret ingredient?
Potentially. I mean, we could ask Skylaw himself, as he has joined us in the interview room. Hello, Skylaw. Congratulations on your win.
Hello, and thank you.
How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, I must say, actually. Those are two very, very well-played games by my team, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking really strong. I mean, very comfortable win on game number 1. Game number 2, they gave you a bit more of a rough time, Dark Brawler, and they had some nice pushing and some good kills early on.
They did, yes.
Did you feel worried that when you've lost that first Punisher, for example?
We did, actually. There have been a few games in seasons past where we started off absolutely flying out the gate, and then things have fallen apart in remarkably short order. And I was worried that was going to happen again this time round, but luckily, even after those couple of early deaths and losing the first objective, we were able to rally, collect ourselves, get back to our rotations, get back to our game plan, and thankfully close out the series.
Brilliant, and a brilliant performance, and I like the way that your team engages together. Now, in game number 1, that was with the Maiev. I mean, is that your secret weapon, the Maiev? Because those engages look terrifying.
That has become something of a pocket strap of ours, the Maiev Hanzo combination, the Warden's Cage into the Dragon Strike. It's something we've been practicing for a little while now. We used it once or twice last season, I think, and it normally works out pretty well. But it's one of those things where if it works amazingly, but if it doesn't, then you get absolutely nothing out of it. So it's kind of a feast or famine kind of combination, but luckily this time round, it did appear to play out well for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just again, like a really well executed combinations, and it shows. I think the experience that your team's got shows. I mean, how long have you been playing Heroes Lounge for?
Oh, well, I myself have been in Heroes Lounge since Season 2. I played my first 1 or 2 seasons with a now disbanded team called The Last Word. Then that team broke up into another team and Protect Your Nexus, who I then joined and somehow became the captain of. And that's where I've been with seasons 4 till 12 now. So, yeah, you could call us veterans, old hands, seasoned pros, whatever you feel like, I guess.
The very experienced, and does that help it with team coordination? Keeping if your team is experienced together, is that?
Well, I definitely think the more time, the more games that you play with your team, the more in sync you find themselves. Things that you may pick up on even without realizing it, or things become like unspoken rules. For example, that goes a long way, I think, towards maintaining team cohesion. And some would say it's been something of an instrument of our success, in inverted commas, in seasons past.
I know it's a bit early potentially to speak about playoffs and the seasons then, as it's just barely started with 3 games into. But what do you think, Skylaw? Is playoffs in season 12 a thing you're aiming for with Protect Your Nexus together with your team? Do you see yourself there?
I would absolutely love to make the playoffs this season, because the last 2 seasons we missed out on the playoffs by 1 position when the team directly below us in the league won their last game of the season and leapfrogged us into the last playoffs position. So for that to happen 2 seasons in a row, some might call something of a curse. Or, yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, let's go with that. But yeah, if it happens 3 seasons in a row, then I may have to start.
You might be looking at a curse. Then I've got the number of a really good curse breaker. So if it does happen, just private message me, dude.
Yeah, feel free to slide in those DMs. Yeah.
Well, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, yeah, playoffs this season. Fingers crossed. I'm really hoping we can do it this time.
Well, you've now won 3 matches in a row, 2-0, as I understand it. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is, I believe, unprecedented for our team. I believe we've had 1 or 2 other seasons where we've won the first 3 games, but I think we must have dropped a map or 2 somewhere along that line. Because if we'd won 3 back-to-back 2-0 straight out the gate, I think I remember that a bit more vividly. But of course, the problem with that being that from round 4 onwards, we start playing other teams that have won their first 3 games, and then get to really put ourselves to the test, I guess, against teams with the same win record.
Well, I mean, I have to say you're looking like one of the threatening teams in Division 6. I mean, could this be... Because we were saying before the show started, your team, Protect Your Nexus, has been in Division 6 since Division 6 was invented. So is this going to be the season that you get up to Division 5?
Well, it's not
Get
completely
promoted.
out of the question. Full disclosure, I'm not entirely sure how well we handle ourselves in Division 5. But, you know, whatever doesn't relegate you makes you stronger. So if that's where we find ourselves next season, then so be it. And we will try to hold a good account of ourselves.
Yeah, well, I think we're all looking forward to seeing more of your team throughout the season. Have you got any final thoughts for us before we head off?
No, just the usual. Shout out to my team. Again, well played, well coordinated. Thank you for another enjoyable series, another enjoyable season, I'm sure. Thanks to yourselves for casting us. I believe this is our first cast on the Heroes Lounge official Twitch channel this season. So thank you for that. Having the audience always makes us want to play that much harder just to keep the fans entertained. Thanks again to the Heroes Lounge community, moderators, staff, other casters for keeping the scene alive. And everyone in the audience this evening, be you player, watcher, caster, or just idle bystander, thanks for stopping by.
Okay, thank you, Skylar, and thank you for joining us for this interview.
Thank you again. Have a good evening, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And so we are going to wrap up the program more or less here. So, I mean, Shadow, any final thoughts from you?
Well, just to sum it up, we saw some decent sorry, I'm just multitasking, not very good at that. There we go. Here's the camera. We saw some pretty decent Heroes of the Storm tonight, despite the overall kill difference. It was a very good example of what team communication and macro plays can do for you in a game of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, we should really try some of that.
Yeah, we should try some of that in Division 3. It probably help us, you know. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to just opening the game and playing a bit myself. Not gonna lie.
That's the thing, is sometimes when you watch these great teams do some great performance, it really does inspire you to want to get playing yourself. So I absolutely agree. A great performance from both the teams, and commiserations to Dark Brawler. I think they're showing some great potential, but obviously they couldn't quite clinch it against Protect Your Nexus, who looked dominant today. Any final thoughts, Shadow, before we close out the day?
Is this the time where I self-plug my Twitch stream?
Yes, and people, by the way, you can type !casters in the chat, and it'll tell you who we are, or where you can find us on Twitch.
Just before we sign off, my name is Shadow. I also do Twitch streams on my own Twitch stream. Last Shadow writer for Heroes Lounge as well, so you can find more Heroes Lounge casts on there as well. Karis, I believe you also run your own stream.
Yes, I'm at twitch.tv/HotsKaris. But I don't stream enough. But
none of us do, let's face it.
I will.
You should. I'm also subscribed to you now, so...
Yes, there you go. I'm in the money.
Exactly.
And you too can subscribe to me. No, but yes, it has been a delight, of course. And you can get more Heroes Lounge action here next Sunday for the Heroes Lounge Super Sunday Showdown. And of course, we have matches all throughout the week. We're currently casting 50%. We checked the statistics today of all matches being played in Heroes Lounge. You may be thinking, why not 100? Yeah, this is unprecedented because there are something like 70 matches played per week. Have I got
Which
that
is
right?
pretty crazy when you think about it. That's a lot of matches.
I think that's the right number.
on a daily basis.
But yeah.
It seems like the right number. If
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not the exact number, it's
It's
definitely
it's approximately that
approximately
order of
that.
magnitude. So we're casting loads of matches, not just here on this channel, but we have external casts as well. So keep an eye on heroeslounge.g/calendar for all the latest upcoming casts, or you can join our Discord by taking the exclamation mark Discord, and there's stuff in there. And this weekend we have coming the Heroes Lounge NA Epic Cup playoffs on Sunday at some late European hour, but it's something I don't know what time it is in. But it'll be the schedule will be on the website, of course, as always. So, thank you everyone for watching. We're going to raid you over to another Heroes Lounge cast that's going on right now, which is by Black Milk. He's casting the Z team versus Just Cause, or Just Cause. I probably should have said Just Cause. Just Cause. So, go and check Black Milk out. But from us for this evening, it's good night.
Good night.